I'm kind of digging this tonight because, I don't have to be, when I do opportunity webinars, I typically don't wear hats and whatnot. So anyway, I got to laugh because I did really good today at biohacking. I really did. I did really, really good biohacking today. I got my exercise in. I drank a lot of water. I took all of our LifeVantage products. And then about 15 minutes ago, I ate some ice cream. I don't know. Can we figure out a way that ice cream and 2 Oreo cookies is biohacking? I mean, if we can, then I was freaking King Kong today. So anyway, let's get on to what this training is about tonight. I couldn't be more excited about 2018 and what we're wanting to do as a team. And this is the first message I want to make very clear to you guys tonight. And that is that the refinements that we're making to LifeVantage Academy is just that. It's refinements. There are rumors going around the company that LifeVantage Academies are done, and that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, in some of the Pro 10 organizations, zero is changing. Like, they are going forward. Nothing is changing, okay? And I guess in its most simple state, what's changing is the rotation. And so each Pro 10 is going to be a little bit more responsible for what goes on in their organization. But ultimately, every one of you are responsible for what goes on in your organizations. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm here to support it. I'm here to help you grow your organizations. If you guys are wanting to do something outside of what I know or are currently doing, I really can't help there. All I can really do is help do what we did or what I'm doing now. Because ironically, the majority of my business today, while some of it is similar to what I did 8 years ago, there are elements that are different. And I'm definitely teaching on it because they're working. So I see all your comments about ice cream, sugar-free. I don't know. I'm not a nutritionist, but I've heard those sugar-free ice creams are not as good for you as if you just went ahead and got the real thing. So I don't know. Coconut ice cream, biohacking. I like that. So let me focus because I love me some ice cream. Anyway, we as a group of elite distributors within True Blue got together and talked about LVA, talked about where it was strong, talked about where its weaknesses were, and we've come up with a plan that we wanted to roll out to you guys tonight. And I'm going to leave plenty of time for question and answer tonight. So I'm only going to talk for a few minutes. So if you've got some questions, please, tonight's a good time. Now, we're not going to go more than an hour. But anyway, we feel as elite distributors, one of the things that promotes growth is local leadership taking ownership. Leadership taking ownership. I don't think you can truly experience leadership unless you have ownership. And the LifeVantage Academies, we're not creating, in many of our opinions, a true leadership atmosphere. And we are going to put back in place what helped Tampa grow, New Orleans, and all of our larger markets. And that is, we had plenty of hands-on trainings that were going on. You call them Super Saturdays, call them a variety of different things, but LifeVantage Academies, in my opinion, were not sending people out of the doors with a really clear message for what they should do. In fact, I'll tell you, like the last LifeVantage Academy I did in Gillette, Wyoming, just a few weeks ago, after 4 hours of teaching, and I was pretty specific. Like, I basically taught Launch 60 without saying the words Launch 60. this nice lady comes up to me at the end and she's like, I got these 10 phone numbers, so what should I do? And I thought she was joking. Like literally, I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of her mouth. But I know that was a problem. I know that many people, while they were inspired and they were great stories, weren't really clear as what to do. And most importantly, I know, because I've got all your numbers in my back office and I know the company's numbers, we weren't growing as fast as a group as I would want us to grow. There always been, we've always had growth, pockets of growth in our organization. I mean, this year we got 2 new elite distributors this year, some new Pro 6s, a new Pro 5 last month. So we've always had pockets of growth. But overall, in the grand scheme of things weren't moving the way I wanted it to move. And I would say you probably think the same. So let's get to it. There are 3. So get your pencils out, because we're not going to post this anywhere for now. So get your pencils out. I'm recording this, but there are 3 corporate events next year. We have an Elite Academy in February, which is in Indianapolis, which please register for that tonight, tomorrow, before Saturday. It's $79, guys. $79 for the whole shooting match, everything, no extras. It goes to $149 after Saturday. Almost. Well, it's not double, but close to double, okay? Register. Here's what I'm doing. I'm getting additional tickets for my personal enrollments that haven't even signed up yet. I'm just going to bank on the fact I'm going to enroll some people and I'm taking them to Indianapolis. Now, they may get a platinum pack and they may get their own enrollments. Guys, my very first Elite Academy, we brought 12 people to the event. Very first one. 4 months in the business, we brought 12 people to the event. And that is the one thing that I can say definitely gave us a good run out of the gates, okay? So I'm going to encourage you register and get at least 1 more ticket. I mean, I think you should go a little bigger than that, but I don't want to burden anybody, right? But accountability is wonderful, and seeing that extra ticket out there might really make you think about all the people that live around Indy and all that other stuff. That's a whole nother call. But February, Indy. July, I think that's out in California. That's an Elite Academy. And then October, we have Global Convention. Okay, those are the 3 events next year. So we are going to have 2 Life Vantage Academies. And I know some of you are going like, what? 2? That's all? Just 2? Well, think of this. So here's the months. April and September. 2 Life Vantage Academies, April and September. They will be massive events with outside elite distributors coming into your organization, specifically the ones you want. To the best of my ability, I'm going to go to all the markets. If there's elite distributors in the market, I'm going to have them give me a list of speakers they would want to come in. If there's no elites in the market, I'm going to go to the top ranks in the market and say, what elite distributors would you guys really be excited and promote an event behind? And I'm going to do my very best to get those elite distributors to your events. And that's April and September. Now in June, we're doing our Team True Blue retreat again in Orlando at that fantastic facility. That was amazing, guys. Over the top. They're already bending over backwards for us to accommodate us, giving us more room for next year. It was just a fantastic event. We had about 100 people that attended that thing. We're doing it again. A big part of the success of any network marketing team is culture. And that was culture at its finest in June. So we're doing that in June. So that leaves January, March, May, August, November, and December with open dates. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months open for you guys to do your own events. Now, it's my hope it's my hope that you are going to train your teams every month, including the months that we have corporate events, but in small settings. I'm talking living rooms, small settings. But on these other 6 months, it's my hope that you might do something on a little bit larger scale, right? Nonetheless, all of these events, the elite distributors and I want to be a workshop atmosphere, hands-on workshop atmosphere, whether we're going to call them hot meetings. I was talking to Tim and Sarah tonight, and they like to call them a how meeting, or in other words, hands-on workshop, right? Or we're going to come up with a name for it for you guys, but just know it's going to be a workshop atmosphere where the only purpose is getting everybody in that room equipped to get to Pro 3. So what are we going to be discussing in those things? How to sign up a customer with your cell phone or laptop or computer. How to enroll a distributor with your cell phone or your replicated site. Okay, those are pretty important, right? We're going to be teaching, let me say some groups are going to be teaching social media strategies. Other groups will put more of an emphasis probably on the invite and resolving concerns and how to present, how to close. Okay, more of your blueprint type basics. But we have got to rally around getting people to Pro 3. It's the foundational rank. So this whole platform will be around getting people to Pro 3. Now, I've been asked by the leaders, will there be an opportunity meeting? My answer to that is, if you're the one organizing the meeting, that's up to you. Will it be at 9 a.m.? Or when can I do it at a later time? My answer to that is, it's up to you if you're the one organizing the meeting. What kind of content are we going to teach? That's up to you if you're the one doing the meeting. And so here's what we know for sure. The people who are in front of the room do their homework before they get in the front of the room. It allows them to, it puts them in a position of leadership. In other words, now when people have questions about the comp plan, you will know the answers because you'll be sharp, because you're the one teaching, not the one just sitting in a seat waiting for the LVA instructor to come through town. So we know this is going to be phenomenal. We know it's going to work. And we're going to support the heck out of you guys. Like, we're going to do webinars and probably go ahead and supply some content for you to pick and choose on what you want to teach on. Now, who should be doing the training? Again, listen, if you're a Pro 2 and you're ready to start training, I wouldn't stop you. I wouldn't. Okay. Now, my opinion is, in most of our markets, we have people that are getting close to Pro 4 or higher than Pro 4. So I'm going to say, if you're in that $7,000 or $8,000 to $10,000 a month, you are more than qualified to teach people how to get to Pro 3, which is $5,000 in volume. Again, if you're not a Pro 3 and you want to teach, then do it. If there's no Pro 4s in the market and you want to teach, do it. Okay? I'm going to teach those months. All those open months, I'm going to teach. But I'm going to be teaching people that have not hit Pro 3. I really don't want to go to markets where there's 6s and 7s in the audience, because honestly, those 6s and 7s know plenty to go out and help people get to Pro 3. These are workshops where people leave empowered and can actually make money at the event. Can you imagine if we do some calls at the event and close some deals at the event and pick up preferred customers at the event? How wonderful that will be. Every month, I plan on hosting a webinar with our elite distributors and sharing best practices for these trainings specifically. What are you doing? What times? Did you do an opportunity meeting? What did you share? What was the curriculum? How's it going? How's your attendance? So every month we're going to share a workshop best practice webinar, okay? So I don't want you guys out there that are Pro 4s or higher getting really weird, like freaking out that, you're going to be doing these trainings, because we're going to empower you as much as we can to give you all that you need to go out and help some people get to Pro 3, okay? So again, I'm really excited about this format. It puts you in control. It puts you in control. Now, what happens if there's 2 Pro 5s in the same market? Well, that's up to those 2 Pro 5s and their upline. Those 2 Pro 5s or Pro 6s or whatever should have a conversation with one another. And maybe they don't agree completely. Why don't you go consult with the next person above you? Get their opinion. Because I really think that what we need to do better as a team is edify our current leadership. You guys, I'm going to share just a quick story with you. It's real quick, but it's important. Just today, I was on the phone with someone that I have met through social media, and they are amazing on social media. Him and his wife are just, they'll stop you in your tracks, right? They're good. They're talented. I've been watching their content. They're at another network marketing company. So I'm trying to get a feel for what they're doing, learning from them, but at the same time, kind of feeling out if they're looking for another opportunity eventually, right? So I reached out to them. We've been texting back and forth, and we decided to talk today. So we're talking. Nice guy, super cool guy. And I asked them if they were going to an event that's coming up, and they said no, because we're in peak season right now for my job. I do these things. And so I go, really? So tell me about that. And they told me, and just like that, I know that they're not full-time network marketers. And before that conversation today, I would have swore they were full-time network marketers. Now, there's nothing wrong. I still think these guys are amazing. And everybody has to go through their journey. I'm not saying anything's wrong in their game. I'm just saying I was fooled by their appearance on social media. I already thought they were full-time. In fact, if someone would have told me they were making 60, 70 grand a month, I would have been like, I'm not surprised. But there's no way that they're still doing these 9 to 5s and making 60, 70 grand a month. No way. I mean, not unless they got some type of crazy spending problem, right? So my point is this. We need to do a better job edifying the pros that are in your cell phone, your upline. You guys, these guys that help you build this business are smarter than you think. The elite distributors in our team blow away a lot of the leadership at other companies, okay? I'm just saying, guys, don't judge the book by its cover, because the book on these other people sometimes is not what's going on for real. So we need to do a better job edifying our current leadership. You guys lean on them. And ultimately, what I want to do is I want to put you guys back in control so that you can build your organizations. And this extends to the elites in my team. I fully trust the elite distributors in my organization. And some of them, we're never going to agree 100% ever. I mean, that would be crazy. If 2 people have the same opinion, one of them is not needed. That's what Doug Robinson told me. We had about 14 people in a meeting, and we weren't getting anywhere. Doug was our previous CEO 2 ago, and he just came up and said, guys, if you can't make a decision, if all of y'all are going to agree, we don't need half of you in this room. And he was right. Okay, so it's okay to not agree on everything. What's not okay is to tell your downline what they have to do. Because there's no boss. There's no boss here. I'm never going to tell my downline what they have to do. I'm just going to go out and do what I know to do. I'm going to continue to build my business. And then if people want my help, they'll ask. Okay, if they don't want my help, I'm here to support you. I'm your biggest cheerleader, right? And I hope all of you take on that perspective, because honestly, the best thing that can happen if you're a Pro 4 and there's another Pro 4 in your market and they're in your organization and this Pro 4 wants to go do their own training, hallelujah. I mean, do you realize how great that is? Because you know what I hear all the time? My distributors aren't doing anything. They won't do anything. They won't do anything. Well, now you got a distributor leader that's not only wanting to do it, they're wanting to, I mean, they're going. That is our business. Fly, baby, fly, right? That's what we want. Just let's have enough emotional intelligence that we can work with one another. Let's not let egos get in the way. And I'm going to support you guys to the nines, right? Whatever you need to be empowered to go out and do these trainings, I'm going to help support you. I want you guys to start no later than the second weekend in December. I think December 2nd is a great Saturday to do these trainings. If you want to do it before that, I know Mimi Madden's doing it before that. That's great too, because I'm not setting the date on when to do them. Now, the LVAs will be the third Saturdays, okay? LVA in April, LVA in September will be the third Saturdays, okay? So if you want to do one this weekend, do it. Do not call it a LifeVantage Academy. There's only 2 LifeVantage Academies that we're going to have. So we're going to hope to give you some names for it so that we can advertise it that way or promote it that way. But I'm super excited about this format. You know, you guys came to me with a lot of suggestions about LifeVantage Academy, what would make them better. So guess what? Now you get to make your trainings exactly the way you want to you do your trainings. And you get to help your group do the trainings. And it's going to make you and me better leaders. That's what it's going to do. So with that, let's go ahead. I'm going to stop talking, let you guys raise your hands for any questions or any of the elite distributors that are on here that may want to add to that or whatever. So I'm going to watch and see. I got a couple of hands going up. So here's what happens. I click on your hand and then you get, your camera's going to come on. So here we go. Start with Tim Cox. Camera should be coming on, unmute.
Flip. What do we look like to you?
You look like, you know, a young Michael Jackson sideways.
Yeah, you're sideways too.
I don't know why we're sideways. Hold on a second.
There you go.
Is that better?
Let me go put this away. Hold on.
All right, Sarah's gonna go put her phone away. All right, we're really excited. You know, we've had a lot of talks about, you know, how we can improve things with the trainings. And, you know, we just had to think back on what we did when we first started and what we did to build the market. And the truth is, when any market starts out and they're in that building phase, the last thing you want to do is just jump into a big training at a conference room. And somewhere along the way, it got distorted that the way you build a market is to have these big trainings every single month. And we all know when I first got started, a lot of what we did was in the living rooms, and it was Pro 2s and 3s and 4s training and getting in front of the room and making themselves uncomfortable. And that growth happened, and that's where leaders developed. And in my opinion, leaders do not develop one bit going to a monthly training, listening to somebody for 4 hours. Leaders develop when they actually get out there and put themselves in positions to grow. And so I love the fact that we're going back to the grassroots effort, because the reality is just about every market in LifeVantage still should be in building mode. And some of our markets we're in rebuilding mode because we had a lot of growth and we lost some people and now we're rebuilding. But I can tell you I'm more excited, and I told Brandon this earlier on the phone, I'm more excited right now about LifeVantage, and this is not hypey stuff. I'm more excited about LifeVantage and where we are from a messaging standpoint, from a branding standpoint, from a product standpoint, from a corporate standpoint. Because I think Darren talked about the whitewater, and we've all been through the whitewater, right? We've been through the stage where we didn't know exactly what our company was. We didn't know what we were supposed to be excited about. We didn't really have company identity. But those of you who were at Elite Academy and you saw the stuff that they're rolling out, I think it's clear that Darren had a vision all along. And watching it all play out and all the pieces come together, it's really showing us that, we're ready to rock and roll with this business. So I love the changes that we're making. I love getting back to the basics of helping people make some extra money. We sometimes make the mistake of feeling like everybody wants to be a master pro 10, but the truth is, if we help a bunch of people just make some supplemental income, and the ones that want to take it further, we help their people make some supplemental income. That's breaking it down to a basic level, and that's making this thing duplicatable. And that's how we create the massive long-term residual income that we're looking for. So I'm just really excited, and thanks for the time. I'll hand it back over to Sarah. I'll hand it over to Sarah so she can share some knowledge.
I just got to say, that idea of the how, it sounded way better than Brandon made it sound. We were talking about a hands-on workshop, and we're going to show you how to build your business. So just an idea, something to think about, something to play on what we can do to create an event that will create success in your organization. And it really does go back to the basics. We need to be spending our time showing people how to build the business and helping them invite to the smaller events. We're talking about the launch calls, the tabletop meetings, the home meetings. We need to be exposing this information and working with our new people in that scary time when they're just getting started. I was terrified whenever I was launching my business, and that's how some of our new team members are feeling. So if we do these smaller events to help our teams really kickstart building their teams, that's going to be huge for us and for all of you on the line. You're all Pro 4s and up, so we're talking to leaders. You will experience the most growth whenever you're in front of the room or working with a team of people, showing them how to do it. Invest, learn, teach. I've heard that said many times before. So you've invested in yourself. You've learned how to build this business. Now you need to teach other people how to do it. So as the leader for your team and in your market, really take ownership in these events, and let's create a platform to build upon, to build up to these LifeVantage academies that are going to happen, and to build up to the elite academies. The true building of this business is in the smaller events, and we need to see more of those happening. So I think that's all I have to share. I'm going to turn it back to you, Brandon.
All right. We're going to leave it up to you, Sarah, to officially tag these trainings in the name. You're going to be like chairman of the board of branding. So.
Oh, great.
Social hands-on workshop.
Social hands-on workshop. How's that?
You
got to show up to blow up, right?
I like it. I like it. All right. Let me go to Jenny. Your camera's coming on, Jenny. There you are. I unmuted you.
Thank you. Okay. Sarah and Tim, I'd love to know more. I'd like to hear more about what you've done, how you've done that. That would be absolutely awesome. Brandon, the other question I had is, here we've developed a culture with many, many cross teams, not just all Team True Blue. What is your thinking about incorporating that? Where are the other teams going with a different venue type?
Yeah. I know from talking to Marcel and Blue that Marcel is going to continue to do their same locations. And so Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is close to you guys up there, was Blue's organization. When I say Blue, so the Pro 10s put their big markets up on a board when we drew up LVAs. Mm-hmm. So I put Albany up, and I started texting you guys, right? Like, I got a group in Albany. I got a group in Vancouver Island. I got a group in Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa, Puerto Rico, so forth and so on. And then with each one of those markets, we had to come up with 2 speakers per market. So if I said I got 5 markets that need to be covered, then we agreed that I would give 10 speakers to go on a rotation. Okay. And so I can't speak for Blue and Marcel about Portsmouth, but I do know there's going to be, in some of these Pro 10s organizations, they're going to keep doing LVAs every month, okay, just like they were before. I got with the elite distributors in our organization. We had a conversation. I think we had 2 Zoom calls about it, and we decided, for the reasons I've already said on this webinar, why we did what we did. Now, to answer your question directly, any training that you do, Jenny, or anybody, it's up to you to invite who you want to your meeting.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you who to invite to your meeting. That's up to you. But here's what I know will happen. Whoever supplies the best training and whoever's groups are growing, guess where the attendees are going to go?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way the world works. People are going to go where there's value. And that is why, one of the reasons why we're creating this program is to create value. Again, like you guys get to set the price too. Like Jenny, if you don't want to charge $1, like if you want it to be free, do it free. Okay. I'm not the leaders in the market. The person that says, I'm going to do a training, the person that's going to host it and put the whole thing together, they'll decide along with the other leaders, right? They'll decide how long is it? Where is it going to be? What's the dates? What's the curriculum? What we're going to charge?
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I know we got another hand. Let's go with J-Lo. J-Lo. There you are.
Hey, how are you? Let's see.
Hey, girls.
Oh, look, I got two.
I see her.
I'm out here. I'm in Florida. It's awesome. I don't want to leave.
No eggs? Not cooking eggs this time or whatever y'all were cooking last time?
Tomatoes. No, don't show them. She's got tomatoes.
I've
got some balsamic vinegar and tomatoes and mozzarella. That's what we're cooking.
Got it. I got it.
Like dinner with some salad.
I'm digging it. All right.
Anyway, sorry. No worries. Hey, listen, I was just, first of all, I want to say thank you for the revision of LVA Academy. It's something I've been kind of thinking about for a while and glad to see that kind of come to fruition. When you talk about multiple faces, Fred talked to me a little bit at the meeting on Monday night about what to be excited about, which if this is a true statement, I'm really excited to see that the folks who are flying in are going to have maybe an hour and a half or so that the rest of the thing will be filled with different faces, keep everybody moving. What I found in the last 4 years, or I guess it's been almost 4 years, feels like 4 years between Premier School and now this, with the one person in front of the room, folks kind of die down about halfway through, and it's a 4-hour process. So the training in me, Training 101, says you got to have more energy. So is that kind of what the thought process was behind it? Because if it was,
yeah, it's another reason. It's another reason why we're not doing one in January. Now remember, this is 2018 schedule. 2019, we may have 3 LVAs.
Okay.
In 2019, it's just the way this calendar fell in 2018. Okay. We talked about doing one in January. One, we think it's a little too premature to get everybody the way it needs to be.
Okay.
2, we want to give these local leaders enough time to really do what we think needs to be done, and that's taking full advantage of this Pro 3 frenzy that's going on right now, right?
Right.
And so, yes, our vision for LVA is that the outside speaker comes in and does kind of the personal development and inspirational side of this thing, like telling their story, what they did to get to where they are, the sacrifices they made, like it's possible. Like you can do this because I did it, that inspirational story. But we feel as if we want panels, at least 1, maybe 2 panels of either a panel of the local elite distributors so that they can have a voice. But more importantly, a panel, what I'm thinking is a panel of everybody that rank advanced in the last month or 2 months. Like put whatever the highest new ranks are, starting out if it's 7 or 6 or 5. And if you're going to have 6 or 7 or 8 people on the panel, just start at whatever that highest rank is and then go to Pro 6. Do we have any new 6s, any new 5s, right? Or maybe we even do a panel of the new Pro 3s. So maybe that's the 2 panels. Maybe it's a panel of the ranks to 4, 5, and 6, and maybe it's a panel of all our new Pro 3s and giving them time to talk about what they did to get where they're at and what's working for them. So yes, the LVA that we put together for Team True Blue, I just know it's gonna look unique to True Blue. I just know it is. It's going to be unique to our team, and it's going to be a collaboration of our elite distributors' input, and it's going to be a small piece of these workshops. So an LVA will also have a small piece of these workshops embedded in the LVA.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It kind of reminds me a little bit about what we did a few years back with the December event, Brandon, that we used to do at USF. Those were pretty awesome, where you flew in a couple folks. Mm-hmm. I know Sarah was a part of one. Melissa Bruton had come down, Tori. And then we had a couple of different panels. It just really created a different type of excitement, especially in that month, leading into where you had the lean months in January and things, trying to.
We've done this for 8 years, right? Like we've done this for 8 years. So we have a pretty good database of events to pull from to take the good and,
awesome.
Cross out the stuff that didn't work for us.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. I'm hungry now, so I'm going to drive on over.
Come on now.
We got pasta and some mozzarella and tomatoes and balsamic and some salad.
I ate ice cream and cookies.
I was cooking. Cooking at the Airbnb.
See you guys.
Bye.
All right. Here is Crate. Miss Crate. Come on, come on. I just clicked on your hand. Crate, did you unclick? All right, we're going to go to Gary. Gary Stern.
All right. Nice hat, first of all.
Ha, 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 ha.
Great minds think alike on that. Can you hear me okay, bud?
Gotcha.
All right. I'm still I'm one of the ones that got affected by this. I don't even want to call it a virus. I think they were trying to kill us at Elite Academy because I have not been the same since, but it's all good. Getting back to my fighting weight in cycling. It's a good thing. Hey, what I want to do is I want to shift the focus back away from the LVAs to a second to these local events. And what I want people to think about for a second is think about where we were, like Brandon, Tim and Tori, Chad, Sonny and Chad, and Tim and Sarah. And I'm trying to think of, I haven't heard any other elites that you say are on this line right now, but think New Orleans, Tampa, and even in Melbourne for that matter. How did those markets grow? How did Atlanta grow? Atlanta has kind of been represented. J-Lo lived up there for a while. How did those markets grow initially? There were no LVAs. There were no premier schools in these markets to begin with. I'm talking out of the get-go. From the very start, there were none. There were Super Saturdays being done. There were Pro 3s and Pro 4s and Pro 5s who were hungry and didn't know any better doing trainings in the front of the room. In fact, I'm kind of glad that since you weren't able to get to Crate, something she and I talked about was I remember doing one at her office, a training event. I was a Pro 3. I think she was a Pro 2. We didn't quite know exactly what we needed to do to get to 4, 5, and 6, but we knew exactly what we had done to get to 2 and 3, and could teach the new people who were in the room hands-on how to go make money, like how to leave that meeting making money. Most people don't leave an LVA making money. They leave there having lost a little bit of money, gained a lot of knowledge, gained a lot of belief, gained a lot of inspiration, but didn't make money. They took a day off of work, maybe if they have to work weekends. They drove, they paid their entry fee, whatever it was. They can leave a hands-on training. What I'm trying to implore upon to the 4s who are on here, and the 5s, and the 6s, and myself, we need to start doing these things again in the small markets. I'm going to do them in Melbourne. I'll spearhead the effort in Melbourne because we don't have another Pro 4 in Melbourne that'll step up and start spearheading the meetings. I will make sure these trainings take place. The key is once we get somebody here to strong Pro 3, almost Pro 4, then the ball goes into their court. And they need to take over the reins. Not because it's I'm your boss thing. It's because that's how this business transfers the baton of leadership. When you prepare to get in front of the room, you get better. Your belief builds. You become more bulletproof. If you become more bulletproof, you just find yourself sharing it a little more often. When you share it a little more often, the people you come in contact with that are trying to just sound like they know it all, you can just look at them and go, no, you're wrong. And you can say it with conviction. So I just wanted to make sure the LVAs, I'm pumped there's 2 of them. I'm pumped that we're going to have these big, huge events to really especially shine the light, recognition. Who are the pro 3s, movers, and shakers? Who are the 4, 5s, and 6s on the panel? Who's the big dog that can come in and impart their wisdom on us? I like that format. But what I'm really excited about is at the grassroots, because that's where growth occurs. That's where the true growth occurs. And you don't want to grow just in one market with people driving 4 and 5 hours to go to that one market. You want to grow in 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 different markets individually.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Gary's on point. And something he just said, as a reminder, like Gary living in Melbourne, LVA's in Tampa, let's just call it probably pretty hard to get a guest from Melbourne to Tampa, even though LVAs weren't really designed for guests. That's why we did opportunity meetings. Nonetheless, we did lead schools, and it'd be hard. Now it's not going to be. Like if Gary wants to do an opportunity meeting or maybe just get a guest to see the culture or the training, it's right there locally. Maybe it's going to be okay. Here's a good scenario. Take Tampa, for instance. We got dozens of Pro 4s and above. You know how amazing it would be to have 5 of these workshops going on in Tampa in a given weekend or a given month? You know how amazing that would be? That you'd have 5 of them going on? I mean, that's where I see this going. I see this in 2018 where we really have this running, where there's LVAs, I mean, not LVAs, these workshops happening every weekend in our bigger markets. And you can just plug people in if you don't want to do it that weekend, or maybe you did one last weekend and you got some new people. Send them over to Gary's or send them over to J-Lo's and have them attend the meeting. So I'm pretty pumped about, I can tell you this, I haven't been this excited about training since we developed Lead School. It's the last time I've been this excited. Don't get me wrong, LVA was not a mistake. LVA was necessary to pull all the 10s together and get on the same page for things. And I'm going to say this again. If someone comes to you, social media-wise, phone calls, and says LVA is going away, I want you to say this. 3 words. That's not true. Okay? LVAs are not going away. They are here. Believe me, you got some powerful, powerful leaders in this company. They're not going away. Okay, so if you hear that, it's not true. We are just strictly changing the rotation and in some cases, the frequency. Okay, so they are here to stay. Darren wants them here. The corporate staff wants them here. And I bet you I have over 300 of my hours. I bet you I have over 300 hours just developing LVAs with the other Pro 10s, much less all the time in the plane. So they're not going away. We learn too much from them. So I don't see any other hands up. Your hands up. And they stay there. Okay. Any questions? Okay, we got a hand that just went up. Let's see. Lisa Huey, you are now a panelist. Come on down. You're the next contestant on Team True Blues webinar.
Are we good?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Great. I just wanted to thank you for all of this and, total agreement, total support. I'm excited. I think there's a few great points. One was the application, what you talked about before, what we talked about the other day. You come from these big trainings, even like what Gary said, you come back from Elite Academy not making money, but losing money in some cases, so that we can actually come together to take what we've learned from all of those. And that's kind of how I've been presenting it and stressing. It's like, this is what you just learned. Now let's put this into action. Let's really get going and put it into action. I love the idea of having it in, multiple locations within the same market even, and multiple days and times, a greater opportunity. Things do come up. People, can't make certain things. They'll have a greater chance to make some of the trainings, and they'll be much closer to home. Some of the people, just being real, some of the people are like, well, that's too far to drive, or, whatever. Well, guess what? Now it's literally in your backyard. And if it's not right here, for somebody else, they'll have one in their backyard. So that's great. I think that's totally awesome. I do have a question about the different markets and the different Pro 10s and doing different rotation schedules. Is there a concern, or could it potentially become a concern that becomes misconstrued, that there is no longer unity?
Yeah, we've talked about that. And the Pro 10s today, we did 2 phone calls with the Pro 10s today. We may do a company-wide Zoom so that all the Pro 10s are on and the field can ask questions, and we can feel those answers, because the Pro 10s, we're still very, very united. But let me just tell you, this is the best explanation I've heard. Okay, it's from Tyler Daniels. We started talking about this about 2 months ago, and he likened LifeVantage to the NFL, where there's, I think, 32 teams in the NFL. And we don't have 32 big teams in LifeVantage, but we got a few big teams in LifeVantage. And he said, LVAs are great, but he said it would just be really weird, like, to take Tom Brady from the Patriots and send them over to the Atlanta Falcons for a weekend as the quarterback. To go put Tom Brady in Atlanta's team where things are done a little bit differently, and Tom's a good quarterback, but it's just different. It's just weird, right? It doesn't work. You can't change coaches. You can't change quarterbacks with teams without causing some confusion. And so he's absolutely right. Will there be people out there in LifeVantage who don't like this? Yes, there will be. There's no way to keep everybody happy. It is up to every Pro 10 and every leader in this company, though, to drive their organization and to make their team feel as if they've got everything they need to go build their business. And so it's not Skip Campbell's job to build my organization. And it's not my job to build Skip Campbell's organization. Now, Skip and I have talked, and he's already agreed to come do some of my cities if I'll go do his cities. Gabe Pearson and I have talked, and he's like, I would love to do some of your cities if you'll do some of my cities. Tyler Daniels, I talked to Tyler twice today. Tyler's in Europe right now. Tyler told me today, he's like, you just tell me where you need me, and I'll be in your cities if they want me. So the great thing is, Lisa, Atlanta, Tampa, and maybe soon even Ohio, you're going to give me a list of elites in our organization and outside of our organization that you guys would like to have in front of your teams, and I'll go to bat. I'll go to them and say, hey, we'd like to have you, and then we just got to reciprocate, right? We're going to work that out. So anybody that says the Pro 10s are not on the same page doesn't know what they're talking about. And secondly, it's going to be pretty obvious pretty quick which Pro 10s are cooperating the most and working together the most. Like, I can rattle off a bunch of names like Scott Satterfield. He's in Skip's organization. I love that guy to death. Seth Campbell talks really fast, but I love that guy. He's a good trainer. I could go on and on. So there may be a perception of that early on, but I think in our organization, which is the only organization I can really worry about, you guys are going to see really quickly that there's a ton of unity within the Pro 10s.
That's great. Thank you. Because as you know, Ivy's been pretty plugged into all of our group. And that was a big concern for her. And I was pretty much doing my best to, reassure her. She's like, my leadership's not here. I love what you guys all do. I said, talk to Kai, see what your upline is planning, but you're always going to be able to plug into what we are here. You're part of our, quote, local market.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, I don't know if I said this earlier or I think I said this privately today. At the end of the day, people are going to go where there's value.
Right.
If there's 2 trainings in the same city, they're just going to go to the training that helps them grow their business. And I don't blame them. And so that's going to make me step my game up. I can promise you, when I'm in front of a room teaching, I'm bringing my A game. I am absolutely bringing my A game, and so will you, so will Mike, so will Tim, so will Gary, because that's the only way we're going to win in this thing, is if we're doing our very best. And I can tell you from experience that when there were other distributors in front of our organizations where it wasn't their downline in the room, I don't think they brought their A game every month for LVA. Would you agree?
Unfortunately.
See?
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly.
I know. And I guarantee you I'm bringing the A game for my team. And so will you.
Absolutely. And just being able to even reiterate the fact that, you know, the Pro 10s are still coming. That in and of itself, you know, speaks of the unity. They're wanting to come. We're going there. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Let me answer a question from Carrie Arnott up in Canada, who has close to 100 people registered for January for LVA. We are going to reach out to them, Carrie, individually and offer them their money back, or if they want to keep that as a pre-registration for April, for when we do the LVA. So Carrie, just get with Tim and Chad and Sarah, Fred, myself, and we'll get that worked out with the local leaders there. They're not the only city. New Orleans had pre-registrations, Tampa, Atlanta, Albany. We're going to work that out. And I'll do whatever I possibly can to satisfy all the people that had pre-registrations. I can't wait to make all those phone calls, but nonetheless. All right, Janice, you are live. Here it comes. Here it comes. There you are. Hello, hello.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, you look good, even though you ate ice cream. I want to address, as you know, our small market. And I'm not the only one, I'm sure, on this call that sits here and thinks, oh my, this is great in Tampa, this is great in Atlanta, this is great in the big markets. I'm the highest rank around the area. And it's a little scary, but I am determined to blow Wisconsin up. One way or the other, that's never been lost. But it's I need personally, and I'm sure there, as I said, other people on this call that are in tiny markets like myself that need some personal guidance to do this.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be as diligent as I can. And in your case, I'll be working with you personally, just because of the genealogy and the way it works. Yeah, I'll be working with you personally to help get your trainings up off the ground. And if you don't think you're ready yet, or anybody else, I plan on videotaping my trainings that I do live and broadcasting them on Zoom. So in some of the markets where they're not quite ready to train, maybe a little rusty, whatever the case may be, I'm going to broadcast my trainings for people that want to get on my trainings.
Okay.
And so that may be something that will help you for the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe moving into January, where you'll be ready to pick up the pace. But the key is, in order for you or anybody to be on their game, they have to stay in front of the room. You guys know this, not just you. Everybody knows this. If you go 3 or 4 weeks or a couple months without presenting, you're nervous. You're rusty.
And so, one-on-ones is a little bit different than in front of the room. Absolutely.
Right. And just remember that these trainings are going to be just to get people to Pro 3. So we don't have to get in depth in personal development. In fact, I'm of the opinion you don't need much personal development to get to Pro 3. You just need to make some phone calls, follow up on some people, and use third-party validation. Now, to get to Pro 5 and Pro 6, where you're leading a team, once you start leading a team, then you definitely need some personal development. But to get to Pro 3, you just need to want to, right? And some direction.
Correct. Okay, great.
I got your back.
We'll be in touch. Thank you.
I got your back.
Perfect.
I can't say that to everybody. She's just happens to be in the part of the genealogy where there's only a couple people between us. All right, let's see another hand. This is Tanea. Hello.
Hi.
Tanea. There you are.
Where's my video? Oh. Can you see me? Okay.
I can. There you are.
Okay. Hey, so for clarification, and I think you might have answered my question, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. So based on like this webinar and the other ones that you said, so the ideal situation would be we do our normal weekly trainings at our team level, as well as dial into the ones that, the elites do at 8:00. And those might be more granular. Now, the monthly trainings that we're talking about in person at the local level, because I know we're doing the phase 1 training, do you prefer, or is the intent for these monthly trainings that we do, are they supposed to be really granular? Because I just overheard you say that we're not going to get too much in depth, but I'm processing like how I want to do this curriculum for my area. And I have like 2 different scenarios. Like I know with my weekly training, I get really specific about 1 or 2 topics because it's every week. You could do whatever you want. But then I know like with phase 1 training, that's kind of like a package of different topics over 4 hours or so. So I'm trying to figure out, maybe it's a combination of both. I'm not sure.
It's actually really simple training. So these trainings that I want, phase 1 training or a hot workshop are basically the same thing. Okay. And I don't think they should be 4 hours. I think you're looking at a maximum of 3 hours for these trainings. In fact, in December, what Fred and I are going to do is we're going to try and mix in some cultural team building with the training. So in other words, do a training for a couple hours and then have an hour or 2 after for lunch together or hanging out together. Okay. We're planning on that in December. So whatever it takes to get people to Pro 3 is what that training should be. I personally think there's only a couple basics, like how to enroll a customer, how to enroll a distributor, what not to do on social media so you don't burn your database, how to invite, maybe a simple understanding of the comp plan, like how do you get paid type thing. And then maybe leave some time for Q&A and then take an hour or so to have some food. And guess what's going to happen in that hour? Training, but it's going to be relaxed.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Appreciate that.
Yep. All right, guys, we're at an hour. I don't want to keep you guys any longer than that. This is recorded. Rewatch it if you need to rewatch it. I'm super excited for where we're heading with this thing. Tim's right. The culture's perfect. I don't know what to tell you guys other than I'm busy inviting. I had 6 or 7 conversations going right before I got on here with you guys tonight. I had 6 personals in Indy, and this isn't about me. I'm just telling you that should be evidence of my excitement for what's going on right now. It's just time to win. That deal that I did on stage, what's been in my head. When Darren asked me to come on stage, and give a distributor's point of view of the shift in messaging, because Darren and I talk quite a bit about messaging and how to get the field to respond. Because the field honestly has been responding slower than he wants. He's getting frustrated. And I'm like, Darren, listen, it takes a while, man. You don't just change things overnight. But I told him, I'm like, Darren, I want to win. And so does my team. It's time to win. We go into halftime, we make some adjustments, we make some little tweaks, and we come out and we win. It is time to stop playing to lose and just this philosophy of just keeping doing what we've been doing. No. It's time to win. It's time to win big. We're going to do that as a team. No one is anyone's boss. We're here to help. We're here to assist for those that want to assist. No one has to train if they don't want to train. But I know this, what made us great and powerful as an organization is people were teaching. There's 3 phases in this business, right? The enrollment phase, the teaching phase, and the train the trainer phase. Okay. And honestly, once you go from step 1 to step 2, you should never get out of step 1. And once you go from step 2 to step 3, you should be doing 1 and 2. You have to always be doing the basics, right? And I think LVA honestly was not creating enough leaders. I said it from stage multiple times. This company's already $1 billion if we had more leadership. When this company has 20, 30, 40 Pro 10s, we will be a $500 million or $600, $700 million company. But we haven't done that, and it's time. And it's going to happen by building armies of 3s and finding people that see the vision, that want to go do the work necessary to become a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's it. So you guys, it's been great. Thanks for having us on here with you tonight. It's recorded. I will post this for you on the YouTube page, put it out on WhatsApp, through the emails, and however else I can communicate it. You guys have a great night. Have a great week. Register for LVA or register for Elite Academy in Indy. Do some meetings, do some phone calls, sign some customers up, go biohack the world, go eat some more ice cream. Good night.